Hello, my name is Rain Tice, and I'm going to be showing the final project for CHED 320. I am using the correct version of 2020.3.16F1, and starting off, going into the folder organization and the assets folder, I have a materials folder set up, each folder for each of the material sets, as well as the sky and the previous VW bus. Going into the first material, which is majority of the props, I have multiple materials set up as I want different emission amounts on each of them, as you can see down here, just to fine tune it. And then the textures for each of those, and the normal being as normal gets. Then I have the coffin material set up. Normal. Planer. Same thing. This one also has a lot of the plants on them as well. Normal. And I have the windmill as well. It has its own texture. Those and the normal as normal. And then going into the models folder, I have each of the different texture sets there. And then for some of them, they had a lot of models inside of them, so I broke those down so then that way I can place those individually inside of the scene. This for each of the plants, and then for the planner as well. Now going into the hierarchy organization, I also created empty game objects as headers for the top to help break up sections for the different type of assets that are in there. At the top, I also have a empty game object that is holding a script, which is used for adding a menu on the top that will help you grab screenshots. Each of these cameras also have set up at the bottom for the output being a different target display. So then that way when I'm in the game view, I can click around and go to the different camera views that I want. And here I have the platform. In each of the things that are repeated throughout the scene, I have those put inside of empty game objects to help organize everything. As you can see, there are a lot of plants that have been populated throughout the scene. All of those are in empty game objects and then labeled as group as well. So then that way I know that it is not just one individual prop, but there's a lot of them in there. The tombstone and the bus, there's only one of each of those, as well as the platform. The lights that are throughout the scene as well. There's the one major directional light, just simulating the moonlight in the scene. There's also spotlights that have been placed around, so then that way I can get detail into areas that I felt like was being obscured by the darkness of the scene. So this really helps kind of bring out the wood texture that would normally not be seen. This one is to bring out the tombstone. This one also helps bring out some of the detail in the front of the windmill. So that way I was able to get good shots of that as well. There's also many lights that have been placed around for the light bulbs in the scene. There is a emissive texture on the material that's on there where it does brighten it up, but I wanted it to where it actually emitted light within the scene. So there's some place around there, and then also on the TV as well, casting a light, volumetric light. And then now going into the global volume and all of its overrides. So I will turn all of them off. This is what the scene looks like without any of them. Back on, and then going through each of them. There is the fog in the scene. Dramatically changes quite a bit. Then there's the HCR sky. There's also the bloom, which this also shows a lot of that dirty lens flare texture, which is super awesome. Then we have tone mapping. It's very powerful. Really helps the colors in the scene pop more, not quite be so muted. Ambient occlusion, which is always a favorite. You can really see as well how it helps that ground texture pop as well. Shadows and midtones, also helping that scene pop. And lift, gamma, and gain. That way it doesn't turn out, especially in that gain, to where the scene doesn't get too lost in the dark. And that is all that I have to show. Thank you so much for watching.